Welcome folks, this is Wear and Tear, yet another outdoor and gear review channel. Today we're going to look at something really delicious. That is, in fact, the cold steel SR1 in the Lite version. Now this is made in HCR 13 MOV steel, so definitely a budget steel, a budget option. The regular SR1 is made of way higher grade steel, very expensive stuff, high-end steel. This is budget steel. The HCR 13 MOV is below a AUS 10 steel, like here on the cold steel Voyager Large. So it's a little bit of a cheaper steel, but what it doesn't have in terms of steel quality, it certainly makes up in mass, sheer mass. If we look here at the spine, we have 5mm stick steel all the way, almost all the way to the tip. So that's absolutely massive. You definitely don't lose a whole lot of strength. What you lose is more or less a little bit of edge retention with this lower grade of steel compared to the AUS 10 and much more, of course, to the more high-end steels. Now we have a flat grind here, we have a Tanto shape, obviously. We have the proven triad lock. We have a quite snappy action. But where this knife really shines is the general ergonomics. I have yet to see a knife that feels as confident in hand as this one does. For example, the Voyager is basically the same size, like almost same blade shape here. We have a hollow grind, so the Voyager is a much better slicer. The Voyager is also much lighter. Let's compare that. I'd love to use both of those knives. Let's wait for a second. Yeah, 139 grams versus 193 grams. And let's compare that to a Formax Scout. 290 grams. So those two are closer than the Formax Scout. The Formax Scout is like in a different range. Oh, that's just because I have it right here. Let's also look at a cold steel Spartan. 260 grams. Oh, okay. So we have a pretty clear rank. So Formax Scout is on top in terms of weight. Then we have the Spartan, the Lite, and the Voyager. So when it comes to the differences between these knives, well, they're very different, but they're all very cool. As for the SR1 Lite that we focus on today, I have worked a lot with that knife. I like to use it. It is extremely comfortable in hand. It feels very safe, feels very grippy. It's really a great work knife. It's not too heavy. I kind of like even the belt clip. The pocket clip, in fact, it's workable, it's manageable. You can loosen up the tension by just putting some coins underneath here for a few hours or something else, so that gets a little bit rid of the stiffness, and then it's maybe a little bit more pocket friendly. But the overall handling and ergonomics of this knife is just awesome. So very snappy, very practical knife, definitely. And the thickness here is really, yeah, it doubles as a pry bar pretty much. The Voyager is almost petite compared to the SR1 Lite. Of course, the Voyager is the better EDC option. It's that much lighter. Also great ergonomics. But when you have the handle of the Voyager, it definitely constrains you more. It's very comfortable. It's basically more comfortable than this one, but you're more constrained. You have less easy grip options. This is just much more flexible in terms of grip than the Voyager. Now, of course, you know, the Voyager is a better slicer with the hollow grind alone, and this one is, well, a better pry bar. Yeah, then we have the Spartan. There is very little justification for the Spartan besides it being a Spartan, really. Yeah, the Spartan is... I have used it outdoor. I've done a review in it. It's actually, it's very sharp. Like the hollow grind, the the way the blade is shaped, it's a very potent cutter and a very potent chopper. You can do baton, you can baton with it and everything. Of course, the thumb plate is the weak spot when you do batoning, but because the thumb plate here is for wave opening, for a quick deployment, so that's a little bit in a way when you do bushcraft tasks. Other than that, then that is an excellent knife. And the 4MAX Scout, I have not yet made so many experiences with the 4MAX Scout. I will do a separate review on this one. But when it comes for just having a cold steel knife that is super reliable, super tough, and doesn't break the bank, the SR1 Lite is definitely the way to go. It's just absolutely useful in every regard. You have the super strong locking mechanism like on almost every cold steel, and it works really well. Like on older Recon ones, it doesn't work as smooth as on this one, but this is a more modern version of Tri-Lock. Really works smooth. So are there any downsides? Well, there is no vertical blade wobble. There is a little bit of, there's a little bit of blade wobble, a little bit. Like maybe it's just my model or my individual knife. Maybe it came from the hard use I did on it, but that's nothing that is really a problem at all. Like this one doesn't have it at all. This one doesn't have it either. Neither, yeah, this one has it actually a little bit. Yeah, it may be just, it's just a aspect of the production. It's nothing that is in the way. Now, as for the handle, it's a G10 handle. It's a massive, high-end, top-notch plastic. There are no aluminum or steel liners inside. There's only a little bit of liner here. But that doesn't diminish the stability a lot because it's just so massive overall. The materials are so thick. And who says that G10 is less strong than, let's say, aluminum or so? You can overbuild your knives. Like this is a little bit overbuilt with those massive liners inside. I think they're even made of steel. That adds a lot of weight, but doesn't add as much stability. The SR1 Lite is a super reasonable knife, although at first you might think it's not a reasonable knife. But when you start working with it, you really start to appreciate it. It being a little bit overbuilt, but not yet impractical at all. Like the Spartan and the 4MAX Scout, at times they can be impractical. But the SR1 Lite is still absolutely in the range where you just love to handle it, but it's really practical. Because the Voyager is probably even more reasonable for most EDC tasks. So this is the SR1 Lite. I really, really dig that knife. I really like to work with this one. So this was my little cold steel talk for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Wear and tear, over and out.